Today, I feel like it's a day that we need to give Janessa an applause. What do you think about giving Janessa applause? Everyone? She's been so helpful for all of you.
First day on the job. This is an easy safety moment. You want to think about the safety things that might come up. So if your job is to mow the lawn at home, what are the safety things that might come up with that? Do you know how to use the lawnmower? How do you call 911? Is anybody watching you? That kind of stuff. This safety moment that I printed out for you guys, it's specific to a new construction job. Many of them are stuff you should know, even just coming to school. So how many of you guys know where the first aid kit is in the school?
Right in front of the office.
Perfect. And you guys have a nurse too, right? You were on the third floor in a classroom. Where are the fire exits? How do you get out? Have you guys gone over that?
Yeah, that's the rule. You have to put your stairs on it.
Gotcha. Good. Do you guys remember back from Milwaukee Tools, when we talked about personal protective equipment, PPE, what are the three main pieces? Give me one.
Safety vest.
Vest.
The glasses.
Glasses, that's one I was looking for. Gloves. And
The hard hat.
winner.
All right, all right. Okay, now, before you go on, we can barely hear you, and you know what it's like on a construction site, right? It's loud, there's equipment going on, there's traffic. So make sure you lift your voices a little bit, okay?
So, kind of in conclusion, what do you think is the most important thing to learn when you go to a new job or a new environment?
Who's in charge of safety?
That's a good one.
What do I do in case of fire?
Where are the fire exits located?
Yep.
And chemicals, about the chemicals, are there any hazardous chemicals on the site?
Very important.
Can I wear my own safety equipment?
Can what?
Can I wear my own safety equipment?
That's a good question. There are standards. ANSI, so ratings, important. Look at your equipment if it's properly rated. Safety glasses are a big one that has different ratings. A lot of people will be like, well, I have glasses. Here we go, but stuff still comes in the side. So yeah, those ratings have a reason. There's our safety moment for the day.
And so today we're going to talk about modular construction. Have you ever heard the term modular? Raise your hand if you've heard the term modular. No one? Model, go ahead. Anyone else heard the term modular?
I've heard the term module.
Okay.
M-O-D-U-L.
What does that mean to you?
It's like, I think I read it as like a story or something, but I think it's like the first of something.
Okay. Anyone else? Well, in construction, modular basically means that work that or stuff that's going to be delivered to a project or installed on a project actually has a lot of the work being done in a warehouse setting. So it's not actually being done right there on the project. It's actually being done somewhere off-site. This is a trend that is really taking over. And so I'm going to talk to you today about different types of modular construction, and we're going to talk about how the project that you all have been working on ties in to modular and how some of the work that you've done maybe could be considered modular. And so I'm going to get into those definitions. I'm going to show you some pretty pictures, and then we're going to get back to the project that we started on because you are supposed to be graduating pretty soon. And today we're going to be working on some of the mud and taping, which Jimmy Mata with Ahura Construction introduced you to. He introduced you to that mud that went over the drywall. Well, we're going to do some more of that and get the project a little further ahead so you can resume some of that great painting work. Modular construction and the term modular. And so give me, in your opinion, what would be the benefit of doing work in a factory versus doing it on site?
In a factory, there's machines are like commonly used.
Uh-huh.
Where in the construction site, you're personally actually like in person, physically you're moving around.
That's right. Yeah, you can have machines integrated into things. What else? Pardon me?
More safety.
More safety. Now tell me why you think there'd be more safety.
Because when you're working on a site, there's like more risk of it. But if you're working with like machines inside, there's less of a risk to get hurt.
Those are all great ideas and very relevant to what we're going to be talking about. And in this day and age, time is what? Time is money. Now, equate time in construction. Time means that you have people, typically machines, materials that are on a project. And if they're not installed on the project, it takes more time and it costs you money because those humans, that equipment, and those supplies have to stay on that project. However, if you can find a way to get some of that work done at the factory and then ship it on site and get your crane or a forklift or some women and men to pick these walls and different assemblies up, there's an opportunity for you to streamline the project and save time, which means exactly. And so let's talk about the different types of modular construction. One is the volumetric modular construction. The other is a panelized construction. Then there's a hybrid modular, which kind of incorporates conventional and modular together. And then there's like bathroom pods, kitchen pods, modular facades. Like on this building, there's brick and siding. And so the whole wall or a whole floor could have that type of facade. And then there's the modular mechanical MEP systems. And so the first one we talked about was the volumetric modular construction. And in this method, you can see that the entire room and the sections are constructed off-site. And then it's brought to the site and put in place. And so things are streamlined. And in this case, these units are three-dimensional units with floors, walls, sometimes ceilings, and many times fixtures. And so you have the electrical and mechanical running through. Well, in your project out there, you have electrical wires running through those walls. So in essence, your project could be considered a volumetric modular construction project. So when you go home and you talk to your parents and you tell them what you're getting involved in and your friends, you can let them know, you know, I'm involved in some volumetric modular construction. You ever heard that term before? And how many of you knew the term what modular meant? So you know they're not going to know. So now you're going to be the chief. You'll be the one-eyed leading the blind, at least. Now we're here to give you that other eye. All right. So here's another system. And I'm going to have you help me with this. And so we're going to do some creative work in between our other work and make this happen. And that's what happens in a construction project. On a construction project, you don't have the benefits of walls and ceilings typically in a new construction project. You know, in a warehouse, you have that. Well, we have the benefit in this setting where we can kind of take advantage of that warehouse-like setting and make changes to our building under this nice setting. We don't have to worry about the weather or the light or power or anything. That's the benefit for us. And in this case, the panelized construction approach involves basically prefabricating building components, Could be walls or floors, roof panels, and this is done off-site. And in this case, it's constructed into a building. And you can see pictures, and this is something that I'm a little vested to. So I'm going to spend a moment to talk to you about that technology. And so this is a structural insulated wall panel, and it's basically two pieces of material combined. And everyone's familiar with an Oreo cookie, right? Everyone's familiar with an Oreo cookie? Okay. This is an Oreo cookie for construction. And the outside, the chocolate of that Oreo cookie. Now, this technology is fairly simplified. It's a piece of wood glued to some foam, glued to some more wood, and then you keep it moving. But when you do that, you now have a wall that's completely insulated and ready to be installed on a project, rather than you having someone on the project, installing that wood to more wood or metal, and installing insulation, which is typically another trade, and then coming to the other side and installing the other wood. It's coming to you this way. And so it can save you thousands of man hours on a project over time. And so you want to look at different technologies that one can leverage. Now, I have some concepts that are, I guess, maybe a little more innovative than some that have been designed in the market right now. And I have some really smart people on my team. Those are all different images, ladies and gentlemen. But we are developing some projects and concept, basically trying to leverage this technology. Now, those buildings that you're looking at, we can build 3 of those in a day. Imagine building 3 houses in a day. You ever seen anything like that done before? And so that's what this kind of technology brings to you. And so we want you to know conventional construction. We also want you to make sure you're aware of all the safety around all the different trades. But we also want you to be aware of some of the trends in construction. So if there's interest, whether you want to be an architect, an engineer, or you want to get involved in IT work and AI, or you want to be in the trades, there's a lot of different opportunities for you, or sustainability. We want you to be aware of these different technologies, and thank you very much. And so, structural insulated panel, that's a type of panelized construction. Can you think of any other benefits of having a wall like this pre-made and sent to the site?
It saves a lot of time.
Sure does.
It's easier to put up.
Easier to put up. Anything else?
Faster.
It's faster, yeah. Anything else?
It kind of like less work.
Less work.
It's safer.
Safer, yeah.
Like they're in a construction site. There's like a bunch of people working together to form this chunk of piece that's going to be insulated.
That's right.
It's already made, right? So it's not gonna need that much of people attention to like let's do this, this thing that's pretty easy.
That's right. Well, let's talk about another system. This is a hybrid modular construction, and it combines both volumetric, where we saw those images earlier, like your project, where we have a full, complete structure, and a panelized structure. And it involves, obviously, you're prefabricating those things at the shop. But in this case, it may be a partial structural wall and a part decorative wall. or an extra floor, stem wall, or whatever it may be. And so this is a nice technology that's also used. Then there's bathroom pods. Now, this is where you basically have a team put all the plumbing into a bathroom and basically into a box, and then you ship it out. And so if you're doing an apartment building and you have 600 bathrooms, or a casino, or barracks in the government or in the military, do you think this could be beneficial? Just ship them right out. How many bathrooms you need? Sure. No problem. All you have to do is make sure you know where your in and outs for power and water and fire protection, and you're good to go. Go ahead.
You told me that they have the sinks, the toilets, and everything already made. Once you take it from this place to this place, you just like put the electrical parts together?
So in this case, what you see here, and there's 4 pieces that are shown in this model or this example. And you see they have some decorative mirror, right? And then you have this partition for the shower. And then you have the sink. And then you have the toilet. And so in that wall, there was the distance between the studs. Well, the reason because you had the distance between the studs is not only for structure, but also allows you to run your plumbing and electrical through it. And so there's plumbing on the bottom of the floor. And so your plumbing and electrical is on the floor typically, or in the wall. And then when you drop it in place, all you gotta do is plug in place. Obviously as an electrician, you're gonna have to do a little more than that. There's typically a junction box where you're gonna connect those 2 pieces, or there's going to be a box similar for plumbing, where you're bringing in the hot and the cold water and the waste. And then you're gonna have vents for the toilets that are already in the structure.
Oh, so like once they put this structure down, the water system, so we have the pipes in this part of the house. Are they gonna connect to some water source that goes to the city?
It depends. If you were doing it in like a major metropolitan location like the city of Seattle, yes, most likely you would be using the city water. But if you were in rural Wyoming or eastern Washington, you may have a well, or you may bring your own water in, and you can tie it to the same system, and you can have your waste disposed of as well. And so there's sustainable solutions on doing just that. But here you would have it tied to the water. The next is kitchen pods. Now, anyone can guess what a kitchen pod is?
Ovens, sinks, all that stuff.
Sure. Do you think there'd be a benefit to have that all in one place? Especially if you're in the military, right? Hey, we got all these men and women that we need to feed. We need to have these kitchens in place. Or if there's a catastrophe, it'd be nice to be able to bring something in an emergency situation. My sister was in New Orleans when Hurricane Katrina hit. And so obviously, most of Louisiana had been impacted, and a lot of folks had to be evacuated. My sister actually had to graduate from college out here because of what happened in New Orleans. So part of the reason that folks didn't recover fast is because we didn't have a lot of these technologies available and being commonly used. This is another solution. This is a modular facade. And in this case, you see a lot of panels. And sometimes what happens is these panels are actually attached to one another before they come to site. If you look at this and you count how many there are, it looks like there's about 10 to 12 up. And just doing simple math, you may got a couple hundred going widthwise. And so that's about 2,000 panels individually. Wouldn't it make sense if you could attach 100 of those a piece, and drop, or, 1,000 of those a piece and drop them with the crane And as long as you're able to ship them, then there's opportunities for you to take advantage of this system. And some of these systems are so cold-blooded where they have hinges. And so, not in this case, but in many cases, what you're looking at is half of it. And then it'll open up like a piano door. And so you have twice the capacity. And so you want to think about those kinds of capabilities and technologies that are available. And finally, what does this look like to you?
Electrical metals.
Okay. Can you tell me what it is? Look up.
Oh,
Pipes.
eats.
Now, imagine installing this on a ladder. How much time is it going to take for you to install this ductwork on a ladder? Or the fire protection for the sprinklers? Or the water for the coolant? Or air and gas? Once you get on the ladder, your production slows down substantially. And if you got multiple people on ladders, guess what? Your production is slowing down. But if you can build a track system, which this is, that has all of your mechanical, electrical, and plumbing, fire protection in this track, now you don't have any conflicts. And if you need to correct it, it's on the ground. There's opportunities for you to streamline the construction of a project, and in mechanical and electrical, it's the most complicated systems of the building. They're the living parts of the building. The water, the power, sometimes you may have solar, but that's the living part. That's you want to keep your building healthy. These are some ideas around modular construction. I'm going to introduce you to some other things. I'm working with some very ambitious minority entrepreneurs, engineers, architects, and they are very, very focused on trying to create a better, healthier home, which includes the panelized technologies that we're talking about. And so, what we're going to do right now is we're going to go into the next room. So I need us to get geared up. So safety helmets and your glasses and gloves.